Let's bring in now Behnam Ben Taleblu, who's a senior fellow at the think tank, the Foundation for Defence of Democracies, where he focuses on Iranian security and political issues. Thanks for being with us. Do you think the United States, President Trump, are going to attack Iran?
Great to be with you, Ben. That really is the million-dollar question, but to what end is an even bigger question, because there's no doubt President Trump has used military force against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its assets and interests before, and there's been no doubt that the U.S. is willing to move heavy assets into theater, be it aircraft carriers, refuelers, jets, what have you. But what larger political strategy does this serve? That's an open question right now here in Washington, D.C., where I live and work. Is this about deterrence by punishment? Is this responsibility to protect? Is this defanging? Is this a continuation of the 12-day war? Or is this paving the pathway for regime change? Those are the questions right now, and things that the president is going to have to be working on to align military ways and means with political ends.
Yeah, and there is some confusion, isn't there? Because during the protests, at the height of the protests, when, as we were just hearing, thousands of people were killed in Iran, President Trump said, you know, if the Iranian regime shoots demonstrators, you know, he'll hit them hard. He said help is on its way. That's what he said to the protesters. But then nothing happened. The United States didn't do anything.
Well, I wouldn't say nothing happened. The U.S. did issue sanctions. President Trump did claim that there was going to be a major tariff for countries that were trading with the U.S. and Iran. But perhaps most importantly, the U.S. is moving assets into theater. The challenge was back then, I think in the 8 or 9 times President Trump spoke about Iran in the month of January, almost all of them referencing the protesters and almost all of them promising to hold the state responsible for the most massive crackdown against the street in the 47-year history of the Islamic Republic. I mean, Iranian society has not experienced anything like this before. 30,000+ killed. And the number, unfortunately, still continues to grow with the internet creeping back online. The president did indeed promise that. So if there is nothing really there to deliver, that would not just be a political own goal for him, but a moral and a strategic one for the United States of America at this point.
And he says he wants a deal on the nuclear program in Iran. But he also said that when the stealth bombers that he sent into Iran last summer, that he said that they obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program. So what does he think there still is?
Well, the Operation Midnight Hammer destroyed 3 major facilities, 2 of them being uranium enrichment facilities. And one reason why throughout this entire humanitarian crisis in the month of January, or the snapback crisis at the UN Security Council in the fall, one reason why the regime wasn't able to meaningfully threaten nuclear escalation is because Donald Trump took that card away from them. What I think a potential nuclear deal, and I'd be against one right now, by the way, because there is no nuclear off-ramp to a major humanitarian crisis that the president has chosen to speak about and promise U.S. assistance for. A nuclear deal would really be based on a political promise at this point by the Islamic Republic, politically promising to forswear uranium enrichment and plutonium reprocessing.
One last question is, I mean, President Trump has threatened military action. He says a massive armada is on the way, time is running out, lots of threats. But he's also under pressure, isn't he, from his allies in the region not to destabilize Iran. People like Saudi Arabia, they're very worried about a destabilized Iran.
It's a very interesting phenomenon that we've seen contrary to first-term and second-term Trump administration with respect to traditional American partners in the region. In 2017, Trump went to the region, and many of those same countries encouraged his maximum pressure policy. Then in 2025, Trump again went to the region, and those same countries featured more hedging and recommended more accommodation and direct talks and even back channels with the Islamic Republic. This is born of many reasons, one of which is Washington has failed on a bipartisan basis to contest and roll back the Islamic Republic, and that these countries live on the fault line. But I think these countries are making an analytical mistake. They think that stasis means stability. And I think the past 47 years proves that the longer the Islamic Republic is locked in, the less stable things will get.
Good to talk to you. Thank you so much, Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Fellow at the think tank, the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Thank you.